As you all know, we were discussing stages of development. In that prenatal stage we have already discussed. So today let's start infancy stage. Infancy stage is from 0 to 2 years. In that, the brain develops at an amazing rate before and after birth. You have already read in chapter 3 parts of brain and important role played by cerebrum in human functioning as such as language, perception, intelligence. Just before birth, the newborn have most but not all brain cells. The neural connection among these cells develop at the rapid rate. So the newborn is not as helpless as you might think. The activities needed to sustain life function are present in the newborn. It breathes, sucks, swallows and discharges body waste, and the newborn in their first week of life are able to indicate what direction a sound is coming from, can distinguish their mother's voice from the voices of other women, and can imitate simple gestures like tongue protrusion and mouth opening. And here you can see characteristics of infancy. Infancy is the shortest of all developmental periods. Infancy is a time of radical adjustment. Infancy is a plateau in development. Infancy is a preview of later development. Infancy is a hazardous period. Here is in infancy stage motor development. The newborn's movements are governed by reflexes. It's governed by reflexes which are automatic, built in responses to stimuli. They are genetically carried survival mechanism and are the building blocks for the subsequent motor development. Before the newborn have had the opportunity to learn, reflexes act as adaptive mechanism. Some reflexes present in the newborn, coughing, blinking, yawning, persist throughout their lives. Others disappear as brain functions start developing. So as the brain is developing, physical development also progresses. As the infant grows, muscles, nervous system, motor skills like physical motor skills include grasping, reaching for objects, sitting, crawling, head balance, standing, walking, general movements. They start. Here about fine motor, use of hands and finger in prehension, grasp reflex at 0 to 3 months, palmar grasp, fluid pincer grasps 8 to 9 months, knee pincer grasps 11 months, builds a tower of 2 blocks by 1 year. So this is a motor development in infancy stage. Next is sensory abilities. You know by now that newborn are not as incompetent as they look. They can recognize their mother's voice, just a capability. How well can infants see? Newborns prefer to look at some stimuli rather than others such as faces, although these preferences change over the first few months of life. The newborn's vision is estimated to be lower than the adult's vision. Here is about hearing and visual. Acuity at adults level at infancy, 6 months, can differentiate familiar voices. 7 months, vestibular functions begin, short extra auditory meters and Eustachian canal. Visual low acuity, hypermetrophic, 6 weeks to 4 months. Binocularity well established. Depth perception begins to develop. So by 6 months it improves, and by about the first year vision is almost the same as that of an adult, 20 by 20. And consensus is that they might be able to distinguish between red and white colors. In general, they are color deficient, and full color vision develops by 3 months of age. Full color develops by 3 months of age. What is the nature of hearing in newborn? Infants can hear immediately after birth. As the infant develops, proficiency as localizing sound improves. Newborn respond to touch and they can even feel pain. Both smell and taste capacities are also present in newborn. So this is about sensory abilities. Next is cognitive development. Cognitive development. Does a 3-year-old child understand things the same as would an 8-year-old? So Jean Piaget stressed that children actively construct their understanding of the world. Information does not simply enter their minds from the environment. As children grow, additional information is acquired. They adapt their thinking to include new ideas as this improve their understanding of the world. Piaget believed that child's mind passes through a series of stages. Each stage is characterized by distinct way of thinking in each is related. It is important to remember that it is different way of thinking which makes one stage more advanced. So, use of reflexes here, sensory-motor stage in Jean Piaget's cognitive development stage में first stage is sensory-motor phase is 0 to 2 years. Use of reflexes, deliberate acts, repetitive acts, object permanence, and develop self-imaging by 1 year. Here is about object permanence. Object permanence, the awareness that the object continue to exist when not perceived. Gradually, by 8 months of age, the child starts pursuing the object partially covered in his or her presence. Here you can see in picture also, when it is hide, so he think it has gone, but it is there. This is object permanence. You can see here in figure also and understand this object permanence very easily. Here is about psychological development or socio-emotional development. Psychological and socio-emotional development. Babies from birth are social creatures, and infants start preferring familiar faces, response to parent presence by cooing and gurgling. They become more mobile by 6 to 8 months of age and start showing a preference for their mother's company. When frightened by a new face, when separate from their mother, they cry and show distress on being reunited with the parent and caregiver. So they reciprocate with the smiles and hugs. The close emotional bond of affection that develops between infants and their parents is called attachment. So attachment in infancy, attachment, strong emotional ties formed to one or more intimate companions. How does attachment start? Contact, comfort, warm physical contact. Harlow's research, newborn rehearsals, monkeys become attached to soft object. What if a hardwire object gives food? Soft one gives nothing. So attached to soft object anyway. Here is one example I want to discuss here. The baby monkeys were placed in experimental chamber and reared for 6 months by surrogate mothers, one made of wire and the other of cloth. Half the baby monkeys are fed by the wire mother and half by the cloth mother. Regardless of whether they were fed by the wire or the cloth mother, the baby monkeys showed a preference for the cloth mother and spent a lot more time with her. This study clearly demonstrates that providing nourishment, feeding was not crucial for attachment. Contact comfort is also important. You too may have seen young children having a strong attachment to a favorite toy or blanket. There is nothing unusual in this. The children know that blanket or toy is not their mother, yet it provides them comfort. As children grow and become more sure for themselves, they abandon these objects. So this is attachment. Here is about sensory-motor stage in infancy. Infancy construct an understanding of the world by coordinating sensory experiencing, seeing, hearing, motor actions, and develop object permanence, as I already discussed about this. Infant progress more reflexes, instinctual action at birth of the beginning of the problem and problem solving, like use their intellectual skill, symbolic abilities, language toward the end of this stage. So this is infancy stage we have discussed today. Next time we will move further. Thank you.